After 3 years at the helm, Andre de Ruyter has left his role as Eskom CEO with immediate effect. In a late-night statement, the power utility says de Ruyter's departure follows a special board meeting where a decision was taken to cut short his notice period. When he resigned back in December last year, de Ruyter initially agreed to stay on until the end of March. Now, Megawatt Park says an announcement around who will take over as acting group chief executive will be made soon. De Ruyter's abrupt departure comes as the country battles unprecedented power cuts, with stage 6 load shedding now entering its 5th consecutive day. Well, let's talk to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Mineral Resources and Energy, that's Sahlulele Luzipo, who joins us via our video link this morning. It's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks for making time to give us your reaction. I'm not sure if you've been able to see that statement that dropped after 9 o'clock last night. It's literally 3 lines where we're told what happened and what the way forward potentially looks like. Because of that lack of detail, it's opened the door to a lot of speculation. The DA believes he was pushed out. How do you see it?
Well, good morning to Ayanda and the viewers. I can't speak. I think every individual, including parties, have got their right to think. But it also depends to what extent can you go to think, because thinking on its own is a real challenge. The issue here is that no South African correctly put upstairs wouldn't understand what happened at Eskom. We have always argued consistently that the crisis at Eskom has got very little to do in terms of policy choices that we are making or that we have made, and it has got more to do with failure of management capacity that you are having. And the mere fact that the board on this special meeting can now take a decision just with a drop of a pen to release someone that they've consistently defended, that is correct, it's a confirmation that that person, from the day he put his resignation, he was confirming his incapacity to proceed presiding over the power utility. And I think, unfortunately, it's an after-effect relief. That's what I could say. I'm not sure when people say a person is pushed. Even myself, I can be pushed if I'm not performing. Why there are individuals in this country that when they are not performing, they must be treated as if they've made some distinct, excellent performance. The reality is that the track record speaks for itself. No one doesn't know. The man came in and said within 6 months or so, load shedding will be something of the past. Have we experienced that? Not at all. So we can deal with the other circumstances. The mere fact also that he would have made that commitment without knowing what are the inequities that are a challenge at Eskom says a lot, that you made that statement even without knowing what were the challenges of Eskom. So being pushed, you can be pushed even for your non-performance, but that is not to me whether it's pushed or not. The reality is that the track record is there for everyone to see. Yeah.
Are you suggesting or saying that the decision to keep him on even for this notice period was the wrong one?
Most definitely. We have said so long time ago to say, look, we can keep you. We must agree on one thing, Ayanda. It's correct. It's within the law to give notice and offer a date of resignation. But that notice, when you give it, it must say, what is it that you are going to do differently than what you have been performing and doing? The reality is that there was no proof or justification that says I can't leave, which is why I'm saying now is very easily for just a special board meeting with a stroke of a pen. We think that the CEO must be released. That confirms what we have always been saying. It's so unfortunate that he had to reach a stage where he has got no other justification or no other thing to do, and then veered to another terrain. And when he veered to another terrain, unfortunately, I suspect and assume that what he was doing or saying was unpalatable. The truth of the matter is that the study CEO of Eskom has never talked about turning around Eskom. That's a fact. No one doesn't know that. He has tended to deal with issues that relate to policy and other alternatives instead of what he was given a task to do and perform.
When you speak about veering to other terrain, what do you mean?
No, for me, I would say that board started now to understand that the man, for championing what was not the mandate, was actually a person who was harboring political ambitions, disguising as if he's an official of government or of that power, of the power utility. The statements that he made, surely we were there, not once. The last time they were here in Parliament, he never raised issues about how the pressures that he has been put, even by ministers or senior leaders of the ruling party. That issue was not there. You can go and check the records, which means indirectly he misled even ourselves as committees of Parliament.
Wow.
He could have said, one of the pressures that I have is that certain individuals within the executive have got this tendency of doing 1, 2, and 3. That issue is not there. He only says it now at the exit, when he's looking at the exit door, which I think that's what the board will do. Then started to realize that what we have been saying all along was a reality and was a fact.
You speak about Andre de Ruyter harboring political ambitions. That's quite a sweeping statement to make. And people are going to ask for you to point at what you're basing that statement on. I mean, were you hearing about, for instance, concerns around political interference for the first time after he resigned?
Oh, yeah, not even after he resigned. When you went to do an interview, you don't have to want to be to have a political ambitions by being in Parliament or in a political party. The role that you decide to play and ignore the role that you are responsible for, that will demonstrate where you go to. It's not for the first time. For an example, advocate, and it's not. We must not create an impression that it is wrong, for an example, to have a view that says only renewables are an alternative. There's nothing wrong with that. But tell us what you are doing with what you are given. And if what you are given to do, you are unable to perform your task, you must then say, please don't even consider me to be an alternative person to perform this task. I want to leave, and I want to leave now, because for me, the field where I think I will perform better is that particular field. So my point is that politics is not about, when you stand up and in official, you then say, veer to points that a particular social system, a particular thinking of a particular party is an outdated thing and so forth. What do you call that? It means yourself, you have now decided to come up clear as now playing an opposition to a particular political party in your own self. And that, for me, is the issue that I'm saying. You are then dealing with an individual who was not loyal to the area of performance that he was deployed to perform. But it's clear now why Eskom has not performed in the manner that it was expected to perform and get the turnaround. It's because the focus was not on Eskom at all.
Mr. Luzipo, to be fair, we spent a considerable amount of time at the State Capital Commission of Inquiry, for instance, hearing about how people sometimes within the ANC had gone out of their way, essentially, to try benefit from some of the contracts at the SOE. That's essentially the sentiment that Andre de Ruyter was expressing, unless you heard something else, and you'll tell me what you took away from that engagement. And so for you to suggest that you heard this for the first time when he spoke in that interview, some people might say is completely disingenuous.
No. Tell me where then I'm prepared to reconsider my statement. If you can show me where the CEO of Eskom has raised that view. The point is, what is in the Zondo Commission is findings of the Zondo Commission. And one of the things, by the way, that are contained in the Zondo Commission are the periods where the lapse was allowed to continue for people not standing up to the wrongdoing. And I'm saying, when you are given as an accounting officer a particular responsibility and you get political pressure and interference, it is expected that with this institution of the state, including those who are dealing with public responsibility tasks, you share with them that this is what has happened. You can't then say when you are on the exit point, the question is, I'm saying we have been there for many times. Go and check the minutes and the records, whether that information was ever shared with the portfolio committees. I hope we were it was only on the joint meetings, but Not a single day those issues were raised. Not a single day where we were told that, guys, be careful. What we experience on the state capture is what now we're experiencing. And here are the records. Let me give you another example. When there were rumors, when they came in, first, when we were in Megawatt Park, the CEO said there are people today, and we're not denying those things, acts of sabotage, corrupt activities. That's a fact that we could say. That's what was reported, that there are people who now require bodyguards, including looking after their families. He confirmed himself that there were attempts to poison him. One issue that he never raised was the issue that relates to the political pressure. Even the issue of attempt to poison him. It's only when we said we wanted to know whether it is true, because we're getting it in the public domain. And as members of parliament, we have to speak what is a fact and what we have received. And as a person who is affected, we needed to get that. He did confirm and said that matter has been reported to the police. And we said, well, if it is reported to the police, we can't go any further. I'm saying this could have been another matter that has been reported. Right. And we could have asked for that member of the executive and that member who is in Lutuli House to come and account on why is now putting political pressure on officials of the state. That's the duty that we're having. In fact, that's an issue now that we have to do. What do we do now when there is such allegations that are in the public domain? Even when he has left, shouldn't we consider making follow-up on those allegations? Can we put our reliance on a person who has kept such an information to himself?
And I suppose that was going to be my next question. I suppose you will do that, right? Very briefly, you're going to follow up on what has been said, because, as you mentioned, it's now in the public domain.
Look, we will have to speak to our colleagues, because you'll remember Eskom for now belongs to public enterprise. But let's leave that to that portfolio committee to make a determination on what cause they will be considering in their own meeting. But we have to respect the space of that portfolio committee.
All right, Sahlulele Luzipo, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us, giving us your reaction to this big story. Sahlulele Luzipo, of course, is the chair of the Portfolio Committee of Mineral Resources and Energy